A Georgia election official is speaking out against his colleagues over some changes that they made to election law that he believes is geared to help Donald Trump. So, Georgia State Election Board Chair John Fervier, an appointee of Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, told the Atlanta Journal-Constitution on Monday that, he is not a supporter of recent election rule changes. He said those election rule changes, which mandate an election night hand count and reasonable inquiry before certifying results, face legal challenges this week from opponents who argued that they'll cause chaos on November 5th. Here's what he said. Our job is to clarify law, not create new law. This board needs to stay within its boundaries. Yeah, but then that's not going to help Donald Trump then if we stay within our boundaries. Look, it's pretty clear that Georgia Republicans in Georgia have been trying to stack the deck in Trump's favor, passing 9 recent rule changes that have even earned them a shout out from Trump at his recent rallies. Now, these particular officials, Rick Jeffers, Dr. Janice Johnston, and Janelle Kington, had begun planning back in early August to pass these multiple changes to Georgia's election administration. They got shot out. They had been referred to as the, quote, pit bulls fighting for victory, a Trump victory. Again, passing changes that have long been sought after by Trump's allies. Now, here's the thing, right? For example, the hand count. According to bipartisan Georgia officials, it is superfluous and a potential means to sow doubt in the integrity of the elections. Yes, a recent report in ProPublica also points out that one of the rule changes gives county boards the power to investigate irregularities and exclude entire precincts from the vote totals that they certify. Gee, having the power to ignore certain precincts filled with perhaps certain kinds of voters? That would be potentially very bad to not allow those precincts to be counted if they don't go a certain way. Oh, but you don't understand. It's irregularities. Oh, okay, yeah. Look, the fact is that you have some of the counties that could decide the election. Georgia is a very important state that are now being run by election deniers. One of them tweeted that he believes Joe Biden's a pedophile. Just saying. Okay, I don't really trust these people. Now, Fervier, who is a self-described traditional conservative, so, super, traditional conservative, and is like, these guys, you're abusing your authority, you know that? Weird. He told the AJC that he believes county officials, though, will run an honest election. Will they, though? Considering how Donald Trump tried to put forward fake electors in the state. And now that there is, people in some of these counties, election officials that are openly biased towards Donald Trump, you think they're going to run a fair election? Look, I know there are some principled conservatives on this issue. These people are literally out there saying, yes, I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris because I believe in democracy, which, hey, credit to them, right? But all it takes is a few bad ones in positions of power, and they could change the results. I don't have as much faith in some of these Republicans as Fervier does. I mean, you'd think that he'd know better. I mean, he went after Republicans for attacking each other. Here's what he said on that. This hyperpartisanship doesn't serve anybody. I've seen a lot of that character assassination that's just not appropriate, or that's just inappropriate, and unprofessional conduct for a member of this board. This board is basically made up of many Republicans now, since they've made all these changes to where it's no longer like, oh, we've got a bipartisan board and then an independent in the middle. Now it's just stacked with pro-Trump Republicans. But honestly, what did you expect? The fever is not going to break here, okay? The Republican Party is now the party of Donald Trump. I know there are anti-Trump conservatives, but remember, conservatism doesn't mean being a Republican, okay? I'm just saying, What is the current Republican Party conserving? They're not conserving anything. They're a regressive party. They are trying to bring the country back to a time that never actually existed, but where women didn't have rights, minorities didn't have rights, and rich people ran everything. Oh, wait, that did exist. Turns out it was a Gilded Age. But now they just want to add a layer of extra Christo-fascism in there, just because. So, and it helps them gain power and retain power. And that's a big problem, okay? Not a conservative party anymore, okay? The Republicans, no. They're a regressive party. That's it. So, look, Verveer is putting his faith in a handful of county officials who cannot be trusted to be fair. Again, after the 2020 election, Republican officials made sure that those county boards were stuffed to the brim with Trump backers, just like his colleagues on the board that are very openly biased. If he cannot see that, if again, maybe he's got too much faith in the process and thinks, well, look, yeah, there's some bad actors, but I think that at the end of the day, people will do the right thing. Deluded, I think, staying blind to the obvious. Even though he clearly sees what's going on with the rest of the board, he can't see that there is a concerted effort on Trump's part to lay the groundwork to contest and possibly steal the 2024 election based on all of this, procedural stuff, like, we've got questions with the voter, we think that there's mass voter fraud from illegal aliens coming in and voting, which there's no evidence of whatsoever, okay? No evidence at all. Undocumented immigrants do not vote. They're not able to vote legally in federal elections. That's it. That's a fact. And when they have voted, there are less than 100 cases of non-citizens voting in elections within a 20-year time span. Out of 1 billion votes, over 1 billion votes cast, less than 100 non-citizens were caught voting. They get caught, they get punished, and it's very, very severe. We do not have an issue with non-citizens voting. We don't have an issue with mass voter fraud. That is an element that they are using, specifically Trump and his allies, to sow doubt in our elections so that they can challenge it and they can steal that election. That is what's going on. And again, if you can't see that, if you're too blinded by thinking, but they would never do that, just look back at what actually happened on January 6th. We're not talking about the Capitol riot, which was bad in itself. We're talking about everything else. Fake electors, the pressuring of election officials in Georgia, among many other states, Rudy Giuliani calling people, Donald Trump calling people and pressuring them to find certain numbers of votes and to throw out others. That's the reality of what's going on here. And people need to be prepared for that to happen. Need to be prepared for any sort of electoral, I like to call it electoral fuckery, because that's what it is, that they're trying to pull to make sure that Donald Trump does not lose. And that's why I'm very, very concerned with how tight this race is in the national polls, and having this come down to, unfortunately, like every election, a handful of swing states. Okay, I could get into a longer rant about how we shouldn't have the Electoral College, but I'm pretty sure you agree and understand that already. How we keep getting put into this position with very, very close elections down to a handful of states where you have Republican governors and Republican legislatures that are biased and in the tank for Donald Trump to a point where they're laying the groundwork for a steal. I think it's incredibly obvious when you look at it, But unfortunately, this guy doesn't see it. Doesn't see it, even though he's starting to open his eyes just a little. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe with the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.